What do you see? Go ahead and shout it out.
Square. Square.
Yeah, okay. Everybody see the square?
No, you didn't.
The 4 targets.
What happened was your fast brain,
Oh, okay.
your fast brain saw the square. Last year, if you heard our talk, we talked about the fast brain and the slow brain. Your fast brain is the one that is lazy, makes quick assumptions, and a long time ago kept you from being eaten by saber-toothed tigers. The slow brain can see that there's really not a square there. And I don't know if the lighting is good here or not, but can you see this moving up here and it removes part of the square and it disappears? So that was your brain trying to fill in the blanks there.
So we're S.A. and Terry Hale, and what we're going to talk about is how do we as security professionals talk to senior management and get their buy-in to security. Now, we have skills available to us already. We want to use those skills to be able to talk to the stakeholders, the ones that have the money, to help buy the equipment we want to play with. So we're going to use those skills in helping him understand what's going on. Now, we come from a cognitive science background. My degrees are in psychology and computer science. So I'm interested in artificial intelligence, human-computer interactions, and security. Because who screws up security? Humans. You know. So Terry's background is sales. Since the age of 13, she's been doing sales. But she's done more than just do it. She's read about it and studied it. And when we were first dating, she would tell me some stuff about sales, and I would go, well, that's psychology. You just took psychological principle X and applied it to sales. And so from there, we've started running amok with it, you know, which we do a lot. Okay?
Okay, what we're going to cover tonight are the things that we can use in decision making, marketing, and sales, which is social engineering and cognitive biases. Cognitive biases are an interesting thing. They're the innate things that that fast brain does, and it's stuck with us through all the time that humans have been around, and it's something that we have to battle. Last year, what SA talked about was trying to understand them so you didn't fall victim to biases. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how you can use those biases in negotiations. There are over 100 different cognitive biases. We're not going to try to cover them all tonight. We only have an hour, and it would take about a week to cover them all. But we're going to hit on some that we think really apply toward talking to management and getting them to understand exactly what you're up against. We're going to touch on a few others that we think might help, and then maybe that'll stir your interest in reading more about some others and seeing how they can apply too. So, security is intangible. It's not something you can touch or measure, and that's almost impossible to sell. If you've ever bought insurance or something like that, you know how tough it is to pay that money every month when all you're getting is this hope. You know, we joke that the insurance companies are betting that you're going to die and you're betting that you're not. Uh-oh. I bumped it with my hand, sorry.
Is that microphone on? That mic?
Is that on?
Yeah.
I don't know. Help me to go back yesterday. I can't see it.
Oh, this way you do it. Or blow it up.
There we go. So security is intangible until it fails. Management doesn't often understand. Sorry. Is that working?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so management doesn't always understand what we're up against or even how easy it is to breach a system. So we're going to watch a quick video about how simple it is to get into a system.
So I invited a few of the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for Deck, the biggest hacker convention.
You want to do a sample phishing call? Phishing is police association. And basically,
Seriously, he's amazing.
Do it. Who are you gonna call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna spoof from your number, so it's gonna look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today, so I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for usage information and I can't remember what email address we use to log the account. The baby's fine and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
At gmail.com?
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
If I needed to add our leader daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure pin through a text. Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her to that after. All right, thank you.
Holy shit. they gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password account. My name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
So, what did you notice about Jess? Yes.
She basically just kept acting very, very calm and acting just like she was in the middle of pressure, but was trying to be calm.
Exactly.
Active.
She became the part. That is one of the keys of doing social engineering. You can't do it like a lot of jokes. One of my fun jokes, okay? I are an engineer make this joke. You know the difference between a normal engineer and an extroverted engineer? The extroverted engineer will look at your shoes when he talks to you. Okay? I work with engineers and physicists all day long. So, okay. The thing is, so a lot of hackers are that way. They can sit at the computer all day long and do brilliant things. It takes an extraordinary hacker to do social engineering. They have to have people skills. That's the same thing you have to have when you start talking to senior management, is people skills. And we're going to talk about that tonight and hopefully use some of the skills that we already have in social engineering and a knowledge of cognitive bias to help get what we want, more toys.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about what's important. Senior management buy-in to security is vital for the security endeavors that you're trying to put forth. They're the purse holders. You can't get anywhere without them giving you the manpower, the money, the authorization to get that, whatever security you need, more people, equipment, whatever. And for years, there's been a tendency to understate when an impact occurs. If you notice the credit card situation we've had over the last few years, actually, we don't hear about them right away. It's always, 6 months ago somebody broke into our system. You know, they kind of try to fix it before they, cover their tracks a little bit, make everything all pretty and happy, and send you a new card before they tell you what happened. This is called the ostrich effect. This is one of the cognitive biases. Let's just stick our head in the sand and pretend nothing happened. We'll just get through it. The decision makers need to have an understanding of what you're talking about. We're going to go into that quite a bit here in just a few minutes, but you need to educate folks about what you're talking about. There's a lot we'll talk about the language that you use and how you have to speak on a whole different level. Now, one thing that happens with technical people, and I can say this because I have worked as one and with them, is sometimes when somebody says, "What time is it?" they're told how the watch was made. Don't need to do that. You don't need to go into great detail. Give them pertinent information, but what they need, not all the background. And learn to talk to managers and decision makers. You're going to walk the walk, talk the talk, learn a different language. Can't use the jargon that you use in the lab or whatever. You need to be able to talk to them on a personal basis so that they really respect you and understand you and don't feel like you're kind of talking down to them. If you've ever had somebody come in and start talking to you about something and they're rattling off words you don't know and phrases you don't understand, it's very intimidating and we tend to get defensive, so you don't want to do that. And you need to market and sell security using cognitive biases and social engineering, and that's what we're going to talk about now.
So one of the ways to approach this is pretend that you are an anthropologist. Now, being an anthropologist, you have to think as one. And to do that, you are venturing into a weird, new culture that is totally different than your culture. Okay? Go to pick one. Okay? Because y'all should be y'all have what I don't have. Hair. So, and if I had hair, it would be long. Okay? So, and it was. When I first started working at this little conservative engineering company I worked for, I had a ponytail. So anyway, they accepted me because I wear bow ties too. So, but you have to go into their culture. And you kind of have to look like them. You have to talk like them. You have to wear a tie. On board. That's what bow ties are. Bow ties are all handmade. So, anyway, so as you leave the world of geekdom, you have to learn their talk because the mission is upon you, okay? It all depends on you going to senior management. Most senior managers have an MBA. How many of y'all have MBAs? Okay? I have some friends that went for MBAs. They talk different. That was part of their 18 months. They learned how to talk different. They look at the world different. They look at Gantt charts. They look at ROI. They, it's kind of sound like, the Music Man or something, if I really break into song. But that's what you have to learn, is what all that means to them. You have to learn their constraints. They are under lots of constraints. We had a deal one time, we could save probably $15,000 if we bought today. No, it wasn't in this quarter's budget to buy. And we're slapping our heads going, what the, is going on? You can save $15,000, not in the budget, in next quarter's budget. Next quarter, you're not going to save $15,000. And they go, yeah, you're right, we're not. Now, we all went back to our labs, and I spend most of my time in classified labs, or running back and forth to classified labs, or a couple of little hidey holes I know of that I won't tell you about. Until they find me, then I find others. But anyway, the thing is, we're in a different world. And we come from a different world. We have to learn to go into their world.
Okay, I don't know how well this looks back toward the back, so I'm just going to read it to you. I hate when people read PowerPoint screens, but the lighting is weird. The biggest issue in communicating is that we don't listen to comprehend. We listen to reply immediately. How many times have you been in a conversation, you're trying to get a point across, and you give an example, and instead of the person you're talking to listening to the rest, you can see them formulating something because they hinged right on that example that you gave. That hit one of their hot buttons, and they don't hear anything else that you say. Or you may have done that to someone. You're having a conversation and they say something, and then you start thinking, oh, as soon as they shut up, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make this point, and I'm going to do that.
The clicker.
Darn it. You may have to drive this thing. But what we want to do, let's back it up here. Sorry. There we go. But what we want to do is listen to the essence of what people have to say. Sometimes a manager may be explaining something in response to something that you've asked, and it's right there. And it's not what you want to hear at the moment. You're already thinking of how you're going to counteract what they're saying or give them a reason for why they need to think differently, but you're not hearing the overall picture. Just like SA was saying, the manager may say, we can't do that this month. Well, there may be budget constraints. There may be money that's already been magically put in another pot and they can't get to it right now. So the $15,000 savings isn't at the top of their list. So you need to really listen and hear the essence of what folks have to say. Okay, first one, listening.
So one of the biggest problems is listening, and we all have that problem. We all have to fight that problem by not listening. So try to get rid of outside distractions. I love danger and crossing the wires. Open your mind, okay? This is really, really hard to do because we're all preset into what we know is right. And here's somebody saying things that are wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah. So we have to open our minds, okay? Listen for the big picture, not the details they're telling you. Try to get the big picture. It's just like that $15,000. If we'd have listened to the big picture, we would have heard it's not available, period. That was the big picture, okay? Details we didn't need to know, okay? Everybody talks about nonverbal communication, and I'm not a big fan of it because a lot of it that people have, said has turned out just to be wrong. Some of it, though, you can pick up on. Like, a classic is you'll see people cross their arms, and that means they're closing you off. Well, look at their stomach. A lot of people who happen to have a stomach will set their hands on their stomach. It's comfortable. They haven't closed you off at all. Actually, they're very much listening to you. So take that, with a grain of salt. If they're busy typing on the computer and answering the phone, hey, they may not be listening to you. Yeah. Okay. Don't interrupt. Don't jump to a conclusion. That kind of goes back up to keep an open mind. Okay. Again, understand the essence of what they're saying, not the specific words they're saying, but the essence of what they're saying. They may be really, really supportive of what you're saying, but the words are no. But they support you, and they want it to be yes, but it's not going to be yes today. Well, that gives you a window of opportunity for later. Okay. One of the things you have to do is challenge yourself first. It's real easy to listen to somebody and go, they're wrong. And you don't hear anything else they're saying. Listen to somebody and go, I wonder if they're right. Let's listen to them as if they are correct in what they're saying. All of a sudden, you get a totally different picture of what's going on. Now, that doesn't mean you agree with them. That doesn't mean you become a supporter of what they're saying. It just means you now have a better understanding. And by having a better understanding of what they're saying, you can now go, we need to use technique number 42 and cognitive bias number 37 against them.
All right, still talking about communication. One easy way to talk to folks is to write yourself a script, and I don't mean word for word, an outline with some key phrases you don't want to forget. Okay, that's a really good thing to do. Don't memorize it though. That's not going to sound like you if you absolutely memorize it. Open with your conclusion, including the cost. A lot of times when you're talking to upper management, they don't have time to talk about all kinds of stuff. They want to hear it right up front. So we're going to talk about a little bit later anchoring, which is when you put exactly what you want right out front so that people can see it and know exactly what it is. It's an important thing to do with management. They need the answers or they need the facts instead of a bunch of different bits and pieces thrown out there that they have to pick through. Find out what's most important to your audience. Is your supervisor concerned about the man hours it's going to take, the cost it's going to take? Is it going to take the system down for a while? You're going to have to find out exactly what their hot buttons are and then play toward those. And use questions to empower. Sometimes people are very polite and you can talk and talk and talk and they'll nod and they'll nod and they're thinking about what they're going to have for dinner that night because you lost them. So if you'll just ask a few questions, what do you think? Have you ever run into this before? What would you suggest? It empowers them, and the type of things they answer with or the kind of questions they come back with can tell you where their mind is and what's really soaking in. And one thing that SA just brought up about where your eyes are, look at people. Make eye contact. If you're looking away when you're talking to them, they think you're not listening. Practice your message. As you're driving into work, sitting at your desk, at home, just take a few minutes and even say out loud what you're going to be talking about. See how it sounds. Ask someone else to listen in. Sometimes we say things and we've got an idea in our heads and we know what we mean, but the other person hears it completely differently. Anybody in here married? Happens all the time, doesn't it? Okay. Huh? Again, tell time, don't tell them how they made the watch. That's really important. Don't go into lots of details when you can hit the high points. And tell your story your way. Don't copy somebody else. If you're a very casual talker, be casual when you talk. You can be businesslike and still be casual. Don't use big words that you wouldn't normally use. They don't roll off the tongue real easily. You've got your own way of talking, you've got your own personality, so use that to your advantage.
I have an example of Terry doing that. Auditorium hosts 500 people on a military base in Huntsville. And she's the talker, the one person that's talking. The crowd comes in. What they're expecting is someone standing behind the podium with flipping pages and going, and now we'll look at page number 42, paragraph 3, sentence number 412, and we'll. That's what they're expecting. What they get is Terry. And Terry is down front, and she's saying, hey, y'all come on down. We're giving away a cruise today. I said, people came on down. She lied. You know, social engineering.
It was the government, it was okay.
Yeah, exactly, you know.
They're used to it.
Yeah, exactly. And what she did is she then sat down on the front step leading up to the stage, because this is an auditorium that has raised seats on it. She sat down, and then she started telling the brief and talking to them. The audiovisual guy who was up in his booth is talking to her in the earpiece, and he's loving it. He's laughing, he's cutting up with her, because she's got their attention the entire time. She did it her way. And that's what we're saying for y'all to do, is you do it your way. Okay.
And when the guy came on my earpiece, that's when I found out it was being broadcast to about 9 different bases at the same time. I didn't realize that till then. Yeah, really. Okay, have backup. You don't necessarily, again, have to hit with all the details, but you can have all those details printed out, have them in your back pocket. You could have studied some numbers, have drawings, have catalogs with the equipment that you want, links to websites, whatever. But do have backup for what you're trying to say. That means an awful lot. Don't just go in and go, hey, I think it'd be cool if we got one of those big servers. Okay, you know. Give me some details. Why? What do you want? Exactly what is it going to do for us? And then stay on or under time. Managers are busy, and if you can save them a few minutes, they love it. So if you can get to the point, have your points practiced, have your backup, ask them for 15 minutes and get done in 10. Who knows, you might get time to have some personal conversation with them and get to know them a little bit, you know, outside the realm of being a subordinate talking to a manager. Okay, so now we're going to hop into some of the cognitive biases. Some of these we went over last year. The first one is the ambiguity effect. This is basically a fear of the unknown. You see the guy here, he's got a bird in the hand, and what's in the bush? 2 other birds. So a lot of people would prefer to have what they already have in their hands as opposed to taking the risk of going after those other two. It seems like everyone is enamored with entrepreneurs, okay? You see somebody who gave up the day job and they went and started something they really love, and they're struggling and they're working hard, but man, he did it. You know, he gave up that paycheck from week to week and he went after it and he's doing well. But most of us don't want to give up that week-to-week paycheck. So that's the ambiguity effect, when you're trying to hang on to what you've got and not reach for the stars. And then the framing effect, Essay's going to talk about a little bit, but I like this one because it reminds me of the political season we're in the middle of right now. Framing is how you put something, the words you use around it to make it a positive or a negative. Little newscaster here on the left. Thanks to new government regulations, carbon emissions have been cut by almost 5%. Guy on the right, telling exactly the same story. Carbon emissions have been reduced by just 4.6% in the last 5 years. So doesn't this sound like at night when you're flipping through the channels and you're hearing the same basic story and there's a different spin on it every channel you go to?
Yeah.
You ready? Okay.
I made a note real quick to share with y'all on this one while we're sitting in the room. And it's change the frame, change the content, which changes the interpretation, which changes the experience. So it's all about framing. And if you look at it from a marketing standpoint, that's exactly what marketeers do, is they set the frame. You ever watch car commercials? They never show you a dirty car. They always show you a nice clean car that is reflecting. Now why is it reflecting off of the concrete or the asphalt is what they like to use? Have you ever noticed? It's wet. That's why the car is reflecting. It looks pretty, and you want that car so bad. Does 0 to 160 in 12 seconds. Yeah. So that would be Terry's Mini Cooper. But anyway, so framing is what you want to use in doing your effects with people. Too often, and I've really noticed this with the subjects of geekdom, we tend to be negative about everything. You know, see, exactly, you know, not us. So what we have to do is be positive, paint a positive picture. That's what they want to hear.
Or no picture.
Or no picture, you know. So when you paint that positive picture, you have to be positive yourself. And that's taking advantage of one of the fundamental cognitive biases that we have. While we're working with the projector, let's go ahead and talk about hyperbolic discounting. And I'm going to explain the experiment that was done with it. And it's similar to the bird in the hand, but what happens here is in this experiment, the scientists offered a group of kids one piece of candy now, or if you wait until he's finished talking, you'll get 2 pieces of candy. Guess how many of the kids failed and couldn't wait? 15 minutes. All of them? Almost all of them. You're exactly right. Guess what? We're the same way as adults. It doesn't change. We're just as bad. So in this, we're back. So with this, we're just as bad as they are. And Terry, did you have anything to add to that?
Well, no, we're just the same thing that you said. People want to get their hands on stuff now and not wait until later. Again, it's the bird in the hand.
So now is always better than later.
Kind of falls in line with instant gratification.
Yes.
Yeah, used to be, we were telling our son this the other day when he was ordering something and it took him 2 whole days to get it from Amazon and he was beside himself. Told him back in the dinosaur days how we used to order something and it was 6 to 8 weeks. You'd actually forget what you had ordered by the time that it came in. And he felt really sorry for us, you know. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is something fun, the decoy effect. We're going to talk a little bit about it, and then we've got a fun video for you that kind of plays on this. But you know about buying popcorn at the movie theater, how expensive it is? Well, let's pretend we're at the theater and they have a $3 box of small popcorn. You want a little bit more than that, but the large is $7. That's a big jump. So most people would end up buying the $3 box. They just don't want to pay that much more for it. It's not that much more popcorn. But movie theaters got smart. They threw in an extra choice. A medium for $6.50. Well, now all of a sudden that $7 box of popcorn looks like a deal. It's more popcorn and it's only 50 cents more. So a TV show called Brain Games, I don't know if you've seen that or not. It's on Netflix.
I think that's how we did it.
Yeah, it's just full of all kinds of this stuff. They have a good video here. We kind of jumped into the middle of it, but it's actually, this experiment is pretty amazing. So here we go.
Oh, sorry guys.
It's better with sound.
You want a decent amount of popcorn. $7 feels like a ripoff. So if you chose small, you're like most people. We've set up cameras to see what will happen when we offer the same choice to real moviegoers.
Can I get you some popcorn?
You can get a small.
A small? Sure. Or a large for $7.
I'll take the small.
Is that the sizes?
You know what? I'll have a small one and some M&Ms.
Okay, sure.
They have no idea we're running an experiment, and nearly everyone goes for the small.
Excuse me. Sorry to bother you, but we're doing a little experiment. Do you think $7 is a lot of money for popcorn?
Yeah, $7 was a little out of line for popcorn.
But now, we're going to see if we can influence your decision making. Here's another decision for you. You can get the small for $3, a medium for $6.50, or you can get the large for $7. So, have you made your choice? Does the large look a bit more appealing now? We've made the same change at the movie theater and stepped back to see what happens. Do you think more people will buy a large?
I'll take a medium size popcorn, please.
Sweetie, it's only 50 cents more. It's the large. Why don't we get it?
Okay, let's get a large.
I think I'll take a large. Sure. Large?
Definitely.
Large. All right.
All we did was add a medium, and the large has become irresistible.
Just a medium popcorn, please. You can get the large for 50 cents more. Okay, that'll work.
Everyone is buying a large, so how do they explain?
The large looks like such a better value than the medium.
Such a large.
But the deal, you still spent more money in the net total of the night.
50 cents, dude.
We're such suckers, aren't we? So that $6.50 popcorn was the decoy. Made you look at that price instead of the cheaper $3 one.
So think about when you go in and talk to managers or stakeholders, you're trying to do a sales job here. The thing you want to do is you have a server rack that's $30,000 and a server rack that's $70,000. They're going to buy the $30,000 one. So now you find another rack that's, $6,500. Now that $7,000 one or $70,000, is not as bad sounding. So we can use those skills ourselves, okay, to help. Okay, I want y'all to repeat after me. Ready? Terry is great. Now say it again. Terry is great. One more time. Terry is great. This is the whole idea behind the what I call the illusion of truth. You keep saying it enough, you'll believe it. Even, not in this case, Terry, but even if it's a lie in its own paper that it's a lie, if people keep saying it, they will believe it.
That's why politicians repeat themselves.
Constantly, ad nauseum. We're like so over this, that's. Anyway, So you want to keep repeating the message. Even better, if you can get staff members to repeat the message about security and the needs for securities and the importance of security, it will build up the chain in your company because you want them to believe security is important. Okay?
Okay, the next thing is the peak end rule. This is a rather interesting one that says that people will remember the best thing that happened in an event and the very end of the event. Okay? So the example that we came up here was, have any of you ever eaten at Moe's, Southwest Grill? What happens when you walk in the door? Welcome to Moe's. And all of a sudden you feel like, wow, they like me, they're gonna fix my food for me, this is great, you know, you feel like you've been greeted. Never mind that it's the ding of the door that makes them all robotically say that. It just makes you feel good. Okay, and then hopefully your meal's gonna be pretty decent, so when you walk out, you're gonna go, hey, they liked me and that meal was pretty darn good, and you're gonna go home with the warm fuzzies about eating at Moe's. Same thing happens when you go to amusement parks and all kinds of other places. They try to give you these little high points that you're gonna remember, okay?
Same thing happened doing a presentation to management. Hit a peak, end well on a positive note. They will remember those two things. They won't remember the whole presentation.
Start talking about loss of Aversion
Yeah.
before the video? Go ahead, we got the video next.
Oh, I do? What am I supposed to say? I don't have everything written down.
You're going to talk about your classroom situation at Southern Junior College.
Oh, that. Okay. Back in the late 80s, that's why I don't remember, I was asked to design a new classroom. I'm also a college professor and have been well, that's how we met. Anyway, but that's a different story for beer. But anyway, the thing is, I was asked to design a classroom. You know, desks, chairs, computers, everything. So I present this, and I'm concentrating on, you spend $25,000, you can pay for it in 2 quarters. The other 2 quarters of the year, you're making profit. This was a private junior college, fully accredited, kind of unusual. But anyway, that's not what the president thought about. How much would it cost him today? Remember earlier how I was talking to you about how we could save $15,000 if we bought now? He was worried about how much it would cost right now. Loss aversion. He knew what he had to make that leap. Say, I already made that leap. Let's make money. You know, Ferengi attitude about profit that I have. You know, let's go. He was concerned, didn't want to.
So that leads us into loss aversion, and we've got another quick video for you.
Economics, loss aversion refers to a person's tendency to strongly prefer avoiding losses over acquiring gains. In other words, it's more painful to lose something than it's joyful to gain something. Most studies suggest that losses are twice as powerful psychologically as gains. This leads to avoiding risk when the gains and losses are similar. The reason why is because people evaluate the outcome and focus more on the potential loss rather than the potential gain. Imagine 2 people. One of them received $100 from a kind stranger. The other person lost $100 because of a thief. The one who received the money will be happy, of course, but the one who lost the money will be very, very upset. The emotion of losing is stronger than the emotion of winning. Sometimes marketers try to take advantage of this by offering trial periods. After the trial period is over, the thought of giving the item back is subconsciously painful. As a result, they are more likely to keep the item, which causes sales to go up. Whether a transaction is framed as a loss or as a gain is very important in marketing. Would you rather get a $5 discount or avoid a $5 surcharge? Imagine that your internet service provider phones you to tell you that you will receive a discount of $5 on your next bill. You would be happy. Now, imagine a different scenario. They phone you to tell you that you went over the maximum internet usage limit. Now you owe them an extra $5. However, because they want to be nice, they will waive the charge fee. $5 is $5, right? But we're happier to avoid the loss.
I was just going to say, if you if you notice that like magazines give you a free trial offer, join this website, you can use our services for a month free. Yes, sir.
I don't dispute that's true, but why do so many people buy lottery tickets?
Gambler's fallacy.
We'll
We're going to talk about that in a
It's the same
moment.
thing.
It's the same thing. Yep. Yep. Except I think that the chance of winning something is shinier. You know, they hear something on the news about it and they know that somebody's going to win, where this is more of a day-to-day thing. But we're going to talk about the gambler's fallacy in just a few minutes, and it's pretty interesting too. Okay, yes, we're talking about status quo?
Status quo is something that we have to combat every day because people want today to be like yesterday and the day before, the day before. They love things remaining, in economics term, a steady state. And that's what they want. Now, I know those two guys. Y'all don't make plans. You never know what your day is going to hold for you. I'm in the same boat because I do a similar job as they do. I don't make plans anymore. I'm a system administrator, also work security issues. Monday morning, I'll see what happens. By Monday afternoon, it'll be something totally, entirely different that's happening. Now notice here, what do we have? You see the fence? There's no fence. Fence was taken down. But yet, the gate was not. So the sheep are continuing to go out the gate. That's why they're sheep, okay?
Kind of remind you of work?
So, that's a good example of the status quo.
We've always done it this way. Okay, now we're going to talk about rhyme as reason. And there is actually a reason for why we're bringing this up. Thinking back to that illusory effect, when you say something over and over again, it becomes true. Tide is the greatest detergent. You hear that over and over again. Eventually in the back of your mind, that starts to click in. Well, a long time ago, advertising people found out that if they made their little jingles or their little catchphrases rhyme, it would stick in people's heads. So one famous one that you probably know about, and that colors don't show up really good on here, is loose lips sink ships. Everybody's heard that. Even little kids can say that and they don't even know what it refers to. Sometimes in the workplace, they've come up with some more of these rhymes, like prepare and prevent instead of repair and repent. Corny, but it sticks in people's heads. To avoid a scene, keep your workplace clean. I actually had that one hanging over a desk one time where I worked. My favorite one is in one of the art studios I teach in. It doesn't rhyme, but it says, be careful, remember what happened last time. Favorite. And this is an old one too. Safety shoes to house your toes, safety glasses on your nose. Okay? Again, it sounds goofy, but people would make fun of it, joke about it, and change it around, but it always stuck in their head. So in your workplace, you could also use something along the same lines. Email slips sync customer relationships. So, you can come up with your own kind of thing to make security a thing and something that sticks in people's heads. So, what we've done is we've stuck a little game in here. The rhyming game. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you the beginning of some famous commercials, and you shout out what the answer is, and you'll get a prize. Prizes?
Are you lying to us?
Pardon?
You lying to us?
No, I'm not lying to you. Yeah. It's close. It's candy. It's not left over from Halloween because we didn't get any. Okay, so what we're going to do is give you the first part of a famous commercial, and you give us the last part of it. You can raise your hand. We'll call on you if you get it right. You're going to get a piece of candy, but there's a caveat. You want to explain that?
Caveat is if you get it right, you can have a Tootsie Roll now. But if you wait until the end of this segment, you can have a peanut butter cup. But we only have a limited amount of those.
Okay. Okay, so you ready? Some of these are old and some of them aren't quite so old. We'll see how much older I am than the rest of you. Okay, the first one. See the USA and your Chevrolet. Very good. There you go. I don't know.
Which do you want? Wait.
I'll wait.
Or now? Oh, good.
Got a gambler there. Okay, the next one. Trust your car. Very good. We got a winner up here.
Raise your hand.
We're gonna have a fight over the Reese cups. All right. Once you pop, there you go. I don't know who was first. Give them all a piece of candy.
Okay. But see, I'm diabetic. I couldn't even be touching them, you know?
And by the way, that's a fun thing to tell somebody who's telemarketing.
Oh, and what? Oh, yeah, they can't handle that.
It's also fun if somebody's looking at a poll answer that's not on there. But it is a valid answer.
Because they don't have a place to check the box. Ooh, even better.
It's like when you call a help desk and you give them something that's not on their little flip cards and you hear them going through all the cards. So please hold one moment as they keep looking. Yeah. Okay, we had some other people back here who answered that one too. You want to offer them some candy?
Sure. Gonna wait?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The best part of waking up, right there by SA. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Takes a licking. Right there behind you, SA. A hand came up really fast. Very good.
Now,
Timex. You've got a lot to live. Are you all Coke drinkers? Okay. And Pepsi's got a lot to give.
I agree. I'm a Dr. Pepper person myself.
Okay, here's a moldy oldie. Nothing sucks. Hey, hey.
Someone
Very good. SA told me nobody would know that
That's
one.
right. Or care. No, I mean, did you get that one? Hey, you did. Yeah, who got that one? You, okay. You wait? Okay.
SA don't eat all the Reese's cups now before they get them. Okay. Are you ready to move on to the IKEA?
Well, I was going to now.
Oh.
We only have one Reese's cup left.
Well, I'm Iris. I'm Iris.
That's true. You are.
That works.
Okay, so you can see how rhyme is reason works. You hear these things from a long time ago and they stick in your head forever.
And help yourself.
Yeah, please. You're not taking those back to the room.
No.
Okay. IKEA thing?
Yeah, okay. Okay. How many of y'all been to IKEA? How many of you like IKEA? I do too. I love it. We go there and that's our trip. That's why we're there. You know, we're there the whole day.
We're easily amused.
Well, that's true too. And of course, here's the original IKEA kit.
The hinge.
Okay.
Stonehenge.
It's a little archaic. Stonehenge. Okay.
I guess we're really tired tonight. We found that
Yes.
graphic.
One of the best ways to win people into doing what you want them to do, and what we want is compliance with what we want, is to get them involved. Don't tell them it's a requirement. They don't want to hear that. What they want to do is get involved with security. They want to, you know, okay, they'll tell you they really don't. But you have to let them get involved. Let them come up with some of the sayings. Let them come up with the posters. Let them build it. So when you're with managers and you're presenting them with a lot of options, don't present them a lot of options. Give them 3. Decoy Effect. If it's a system, let them help design the system, the components of the system. So they are now buying into it. they made the decision. They are now going to push for it to be a success. Well, that's what you wanted all along. These are, again, I keep hitting you over the head with it, cognitive biases and social engineering skills that we can now use for good.
Not evil.
They're not evil. Okay.
Yeah, the IKEA effect is really something important to use when you're working with volunteers.
Yes.
I was just going to say, I've sold a lot of land, and I always wait for a guy to ask me a question about the boundary or how something's laid out. And what I do is I'll hunker down like this, and I'll get a stick, and I'll start drawing in the dirt. And if I can get that guy to get down and hunker next to me and pick up that stick and draw, then he's going to buy the land.
You got him
Excellent.
involved.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Excellent.
I was president of an all-volunteer organization, an international group, and for many years they had just let the board of directors do everything, and the members just kind of groused about it all. So we made a conscious push to get members involved in planning things and doing shows so they could see how much work was involved in what you could do on a tiny little budget. And pretty soon everybody was so supportive and so happy to be part of the organization and so happy to be working for it. It was really a great turnaround. So we're going to speed up a little bit now. Here's a, oh,
Yeah, go ahead. We don't
just go ahead, okay. If anybody wants to see the IKEA effect video, we'll show you later.
We're running out of time.
Yeah, so
bandwagon.
bandwagon effect is simply everybody else is doing it, I want to do it too. I want to be one of the cool kids. I see all the other companies doing this with their security, so you tell the boss, this is what IBM did, this is what Apple did to protect their system. We can do the same thing on a smaller scale.
Right, during an election, the reason why they won't tell you how things are going officially in New York, they won't tell you the results until after the polls close in California, is that during the 1960 or 64 election, they reported the actual who won out of New York, and they saw that it affected how people were voting in California. Everybody wants to support a winner. Another example, we live in Alabama, so people think there's only 2 football teams, and they'd be wrong. But
There's only one, well done.
yeah, see, that's what we live with.
Don't give him any Tootsie Rolls.
That's right. But no, you're exactly right. But it's amazing, when Alabama has a down season, you don't see the t-shirts, you don't see the flags, you don't see the bumper stickers. But when they're winning, everybody and his brother's got one. Well, except for us. Yeah. But yeah. Okay, the prospects theory is way cool. For 400 years, we thought economics was done one way, rationally. Now, you all smirk, but that's the way they did it. It wasn't until the 1970s that people realized that people did not make decisions rationally. They made them irrationally. And so that's why a lot of companies like this won't see that it's time to jump to a new market. It's time to introduce a new product. They want to continue down the same way they have been, status quo, and into oblivion. Okay, skip to the video. Okay.
Curse of knowledge is when one person has knowledge in great detail of a subject and the person they're talking to has none. You look here, you've got the guy on the right. He knows all about gray stuff. That's all he has in his head, it's all he thinks, he lives and breathes it. Guy on the left over here knows about red, blue, and green, and yellow. So he's trying to take a bit of his knowledge and hand it over to the guy that knows only gray. Well, the guy that knows only gray can't take it. He has no place in his head to put it. And that's what happens sometimes when you talk to upper management and you're in there talking in great detail about nuts and bolts and bits and bytes, and they don't even know how to soak it in. So beware the curse of knowledge.
Go ahead and skip that. Okay. The confirmation bias effect is you have a theory, you have an idea, and you're going to go and research it. Lo and behold, you find tons, thousands of pages thousands of sources supporting your choice. Well, the study's been done and proved that we overlook the ones that are negative to our way of thinking. And we only spot on a piece of paper the ones that support us. You have to fight that because one of those negatives may make you change your whole attitude. Get a balance, because the senior manager you're talking to may go, yeah, but what about so-and-so study who disagrees with you? Well, if you read that study that disagreed with you and go, yes, he did disagree with me because it was Tuesday. And they go, oh, I didn't read that. You know, in other words, you know the counterpoint.
Okay, skip the video on that. Okay, the anchoring bias. This is when someone takes the piece of information and latches onto it. Good example here. Grocery store out in California did a study. For a month, they had chicken noodle soup, 79 cents each. People came in and bought on average 3.3 cans of soup. So they tried an experiment. 79 cents each, limit 12. They ended up, the average person bought 7 cans. They anchored to the limit of 12. In their head, 12 was an okay number to buy, but I'll never eat 12 cans of soup, but I better get more, so I'll get 7. And that's been proven over and over again, that people will anchor to a number or a price or a size or a color or whatever the marketing department wanting to hook them into. So you can use this when talking to upper management, like we said earlier, when you go in with a specific goal and a price right up front, that anchors them, anchors that manager to that number, that the project that you're interested in or whatever. We're going to skip that. Okay, the anchoring bias, we really liked this. It says everything you look for and all that you perceive has a way of proving whatever you believe.
Yeah, overconfidence, you see this a lot. A lot of people, there's an airplane called the Doctor Killer. It's a VTOL Bonanza. And the reason why it kills so many physicians is that physicians have a God complex, which is understandable. I don't want somebody tearing into my heart who's second guessing what they're doing. You know, get it done and move on, which means save me. So, but they do that in flying airplanes. They're overconfident. You see this in a lot of managers because they've been right all this time. They're going to be right tomorrow. Maybe. But they never think that. They become overconfident.
And the gambler's fallacy we talked about a little bit earlier. This is when people think there are odds. And they think that, okay, so this has happened negatively for 5 or 6 times in a row, so darn it, the odds say I'm going to win this time. It can also mean, hey, I'm on a winning streak. I got a good parking spot this morning. I hit all the lights green. They gave me back too much change at Starbucks. It's a good day. I'm going to go in and ask for a raise. And then the good day comes to an end. But the gambler's fallacy is something that you'll see people doing in business. They'll also do it with security. We haven't been broken into for 6 months. We can put it off another 2 or 3 months. So sometimes you'll run into this with management when you're trying to persuade them that we need to move on this right away. So that's something to be aware of.
Fundamental attribute. If you're successful at something, it was because of you. You did it. You're the one. You're the man. Okay? If it fails, it's all of y'all. Y'all didn't support me. Y'all didn't do it right. Y'all didn't, you know, belly up to the bar and do it right. You know, fundamental attribute. We take the credit, we shove the blame to everybody else.
Happens with ball teams too. If a ball team loses a game, you'll hear their fans go, man, they sucked. They didn't do very well. They didn't listen to the coach. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. But let the team win. Man, we're great. We did this on Saturday and we won and we really played hard. I mean, it's amazing to listen to. And if you can't read that up there, it's all these people in a traffic jam and they're all saying, if these idiots would just take the bus, I could be home by now. every one of them saying the same thing. Okay, so we're going to throw some simple goals out there for preparing to talk to management. We're going to hit these really fast because I know we're running a little long. You need to educate. You need to have facts and figures to be able to talk to management and educate them about what you need. And educate your team as well. Create that team. Get people in your department backing you up, and try to get team members outside your department so that you've got a good cohesive group going on. Engage everyone. Have a contest for security slogans, even as silly as they might be. But it does get everyone involved, and even the most jaded person will at least have that thought go through their head that they need to look at security. And then promote. Find a way that you can keep that security message in front of everyone. And believe me, if you get the whole group talking about it, management's going to realize that this is something we need to move on.
Go ahead, Skip. Yeah, do that one, absolutely.
The ladder of inference is something really interesting to look at. It's the process and how we make decisions. So we're going to hit this kind of quickly because we know we're running out of time. But the first thing, you start off with a blank slate. You're hit with facts. You add your own interpreted reality to those facts. And then you come to your own conclusions. Those conclusions become beliefs, and then you take action. And then you make a decision. Okay? So, what we're going to do here is have a little scenario. There's a guy named Scott, and he goes to a team meeting. And he brings up an idea on how to improve a workflow. But while he's trying to say it, someone goes, let's just move on. Okay, so the group takes off talking about something else. So let's look at what Scott thinks here. We're going to start with the info. So he gets the facts. He takes note of the info. They said move on when I tried to talk. His interpreted reality, he adds his own meaning to it. They showed me disrespect. His conclusion, he developed a belief, they don't like me or my ideas. And his beliefs, he adds his own meaning to that, and suddenly he's believing he's not valued. He takes action, he bases it on his beliefs. He's not going to talk in meetings anymore. I give up. I've tried to get my ideas out there, they didn't like it, I'm not talking anymore. And the decision, what do you think might happen? He's not going to speak up in meetings. He's not going to share ideas. He may ask to move to another team. He may look for another job. At least he's not going to be as supportive as he used to be, and he's not going to be somebody you can depend on. That could happen. Or hack into the system. So, yeah, really, exactly. So this is exactly what your supervisors go through, these very same things. This is sort of a far-flung idea here from talking to management, but it shows how easily someone can develop a belief and then make a decision based on something as simple as, let's just move on. So you have to be careful about the wording you use and how you present your ideas.
My favorite area in life is social engineering. And we all know is manipulating humans or humans. Anyway, the thing is, humans trust. We have a basic tendency to trust. We have a basic tendency to want to help. You saw Jess take advantage of that. She did a wonderful job because if you closed your eyes, you would imagine it was a real scenario with a real crying baby and a real person in need. One of the best ways to hack an area is to use a female for social engineering and not a bombshell. Someone nice and wholesome. Someone some of our ages in here would go, well, that could be my daughter. I would want somebody to help her. Well, let me help this young lady. I set up a scenario exactly like that one time. Had the woman come in, she got every piece of knowledge we wanted, and the next day we presented it to their team. They all kind of went, oh my God, yeah, like that. Okay. Social engineering, the skills that we have in social engineering are wonderful for helping to build compliance. I can't make you do anything. I'm a trained hypnotist also. And one of the things I learned is even under hypnosis, I can't make you do anything. You know, all those movies, no, that's BS. You know, can't make you, but I can guide you in the right direction that you want to go in. And that's what social engineering skills can do, is help encourage compliance to the rules that you want, or the product that you're trying to get out, or the policies. So we can use those skills for good. And that's what we're doing. Okay. So one of the things that are happening and that we were reading in the world, a whole new world called business psychology, is that business leaders are having their sales and marketing staff now read all of the social engineering books and then cut them down to the skill sets that they need to use and where they need to use them. The next thing we started seeing is that the business community are taking the cognitive biases that we've been talking about and matching them up to the best social engineering skills to use. And these are the people that are selling those refrigerators. Yeah. Okay. We all know that emotions motivate behavior. Go ahead. If you can affect the source of the behavior, you can affect the actual behavior. So if I can touch that motivating factor, then I can get the behavior I want out of you. This is something I learned back in undergraduate school in behavioral psychology. Like I said, pleasing is a major motivator for people. We want to please people. We see it every day. The other thing is tell the target what behavior you want. We saw that with Jessie. She said what she wanted. If you read Kevin Mitnick's book, he comes right out and says, tell them what you want. Then, the last thing is explain to them how to meet that, how to achieve it. Give them the path. And we have to do that with senior management. We have to give them the path to follow to get what we want. Okay, you want to skip the...
Yeah, we'll skip this one.
Read the book on psychology of influence. Now, this guy right here, Victor Luskin, he was a con man. He was great. He sold the Eiffel Tower twice. He conned Al Capone out of $5,000 and lived. Capone was happy to give him that $5,000 because Luskin gave him $50,000. It was the $5,000 that he wanted to begin with. So he sat down and wrote a list of 10 commands that you need to be a con man. Now, we can take advantage of this as social engineers trying to get compliance to security rules. One, be a patient listener. And that is so hard. I mean, I have a master's degree in psychology. I used to work in mental health. I've been trained to sit there and look at you and go, okay.
He really has.
I understand. I used to do this to my mom all the time. It would drive Terry crazy. I was watching TV and going, Never look bored, okay? That's a real turn off to anybody that's come to you to talk to you about security. You know, if you look bored, then you're not interested. Okay. No matter what the other person says, you go, yeah, you're right, dude. You know, but that's trying to be a con man, okay? So we're not trying to con people, but we are trying to use the skills. So what you can do is say nothing. Yeah, you're right. Say nothing. Okay.
Or the famous "how interesting."
Oh yeah, I like that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, of course, religions. Back during the 1960s, when Kennedy was running, nobody vote for him because that's right. Who would rule the United States then? The Pope. That was a common belief. Okay? So that could be a real tenuous. So you sit there and go, how interesting. I love this. Flirt. But don't go too far. This is where females have it all over us doing social engineering. You know, I mean, we're geeks. We have a female talking to us. Oh my goodness. You know. So anyway, we'll finish these up. Never discuss illnesses unless they bring it up. And then show interest, eye contact, understanding, empathy. And there's a difference between empathy and sympathy. Never pry. Just don't. Let them tell you. The more you talk to them, the more empathetic you're with them, the more you look at them in the eye, the more they will tell you. And they'll tell you everything, all the nice little secrets you need to sell them the Brooklyn Bridge. Never boast, okay? People don't like that. How many of y'all know people who boast and tell you how great they are and how wonderful they are, and it just turns you off? Don't. You know, I know people who have multiple PhDs. You find that out like 2 years after knowing them. You know, and then you gotta go, wow. You know, but they never boasted about it.
It's silly because I'm the only one that's done awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, we can tell. No. Anyway, the other thing is never look untidy. So here I am, I show up at a hackers conference wearing a suit and a tie. You know, one, I want to stand out. I want you to remember who we are. That's part of it. The other thing is I don't look untidy. Okay? Now, when I get back to the room, this is coming off, you know. And I'm getting back into my fatigues. Okay. This is one that we all have to learn, especially when you're younger. Don't get drunk. If you get drunk, you lose control. If you're going to con somebody, you've got to be in control of what's going on. Have a drink. Be social. If you're a drinker. If you're not, you got to be honest and go, no, I don't drink. Oh, you don't? Yeah, it doesn't settle well with me. Oh, okay. What can we get you? I'll take lemonade. Jack Daniel lemonade. No. So anyway, these are 10 commandments for being a comment. You can see how we could use those. But you can use them for good. Like one of the best things you can do to help win upper management support is to be around upper management. Which I know sometimes is not what you want to do. But, you know, that's why a lot of people take up golf, so they can start playing golf with the managers and all. I've tried golf. I'd rather go for a hike in the woods, you know. I'm going to hike in the woods anyway looking for a ball. So why not, you know. Anyway, so learn these and use these to your advantage and for good.
Well, another reason we brought these up too is because in the 1930s, this was known well enough amongst con men of how you could affect people and their thoughts and their emotions. And we're just now making it a science and learning about it. So you can use your forces for good instead of evil. And then to kind of wrap things up, social engineering works because it targets the vulnerable part of cyberspace. It cannot be patched with technical fixes, and you all know what that is. Human beings. That's our biggest obstacle. Okay?
Any questions? Oh, good. Next slide.
Oh, got one back here.
I'll let you have 2 questions and then we'll have to.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
What is it you found is the biggest hurdle for understanding people from the hacker mindset? What's the biggest thing to struggle with understanding our both allies and assets?
Coming out of our world, we tend to be geeks from the world of geekdom. And talking to managers, they're from the business world. We speak 2 different languages. We're from 2 different cultures. We have two different attitudes. We look at the same thing and come up with two different answers. And so that's one of the biggest things we see. And so that's why you have to study, in my opinion, cognitive science. Understand anthropology, understand psychology, understand what is called pretexting. Okay. Well, this is who we are, and this is our little company. And so thank you very much for coming and tolerating us.